Welcome everyone. So glad that you could all be here today. This is going to be a profoundly important seminar. I can say that with confidence. This is something that I've been wanting to do for several years, and finally this year put it all together and have collected a great amount of research and finally here for the first time today, and I am going to be presenting my own personal methodology for the shadow work process. So I want to thank all the students who enrolled, and I want to say that I hope you all receive maximum value from what I'm going to share in this seminar here today. Let's get started. Of course, this is the shadow work seminar. It will be going all day until 10 p.m. this evening East Coast time. So let's jump in for the introduction to this type of material. So I'm going to be presenting this in 3 basic sections, preceded by my usual caveats at the beginning: introduction and warnings. So let's go through some basic caveats before we jump into section 1. So what is this seminar? For people who may be watching online later after I release this publicly, people may have heard the term shadow work but not really deeply understood its meaning or what it entails. So in today's seminar, I will deliver an in-depth and eye-opening explanation of what true spiritual work is. Shadow work is true spiritual work upon the self to improve yourself as an individual and to make the effort to improve our society as a whole, our civilization as a whole. So I'll be explaining what this true spiritual work is, what it entails, and most importantly, how to do it. I will take the attendees and viewers of this seminar through a step-by-step process of self-improvement, detailing each stage of that process and providing examples and specific methodologies. So that's what this seminar is going to be. It's essentially a workshop. And again, the students will receive the value that they bring to the table when it comes to paying attention, showing up in full presence and in full learning mode, and really deeply making an effort to conceptually understand what I'm going to present and then later apply it. This will not be a New Age variant of shadow work. Contrary to the New Age so-called ideas of shadow work, I will show my audience that real shadow work has no shortcuts. It does not involve any spiritual bypassing, and that it often contains painful processes which may not be skirted or skipped. Hence why real shadow work is so unpopular. Most people don't know what it is. Most people don't know how to do it. Most people don't want to learn what it is and don't want to do it because it is not fun. It is a very introspective, painstaking process that drudges up all kinds of emotional problems and issues and forces us to come face to face with the things we don't like about ourselves. That's why it's so unpopular. My personal AAA approach to shadow work will be outlined in detail in this seminar for the very first time. I've talked about it, but I've never actually presented all of the steps involved and how to go about doing it and what types of questions to ask yourself while you're doing this type of work. So we're going to be doing all of that, taking you through my AAA method, and we'll see what that stands for in a little while. I hope to leave my students today, and whoever's watching this online later, with an expanded understanding of what it means to be truly awake and doing the great work. Because when you really engage the process of shadow work, you awaken yourself and you self-actualize. You activate yourself to go out into the world and do the one great work of ending human slavery on this planet. Some more caveats. There's nothing new under the sun. This is not any revelatory, groundbreaking, earth-shattering information that is brand new. Everybody goes, oh, Passio talks about things that hey, they've been out there for thousands of years. No kidding. I mean, it's unbelievable that people really don't hear what I've said since day one. I am an aggregator of information. I take an integral approach to spirituality and shadow work. And I'm not making any bones about it that there's nothing new here. As the ancient saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. And for people that don't know what that means, coming out of that saying came out of just every mystical tradition and secret society that has ever existed. It means the truth has always been here. It is objective. It is part of nature. It is eternal. It can never really truly be destroyed. It has always been here. It always will be here. And there's nothing new about it. All I can do as a presenter, as a researcher and a presenter, is I can present the truth as I have come to discover it in a personalized framework with my particular styles and aesthetics applied. That's it. That's all I can do as a presenter. So for people saying, I want something new, go watch the news and then you'll hear something new. Maybe, right? This isn't nightly news broadcast. This isn't some episode of some TV show. So if you want something new and that's your drug, oh, it's got to be brand new, something I've never heard before, go to some improv comedy night and you'll hear what they come up with off the top of their head. For serious students, they know there's nothing new. And they're just going to hear my unique take upon this type of a topic. Okay? This seminar is about true spirituality and is not political whatsoever. So if anybody's coming at this from any kind of a political perspective, number one, you're in the wrong place. Number two, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Number three, you don't really understand what it is that I do or that I'm even asking of my students. Because this is a spiritual presentation. It has nothing to do with politics or government, other than those things should basically be destroyed from the face of the earth forever because they constitute slavery. I am not a member of any political party. All of them can, take a flying leap off of a bridge and land in water and drown, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's some of the lowest brow base consciousness that exists is politics and government. It's basically the kind of people that are causing all the problems in the world, not solving them. Because only two things solve problems. Philosophy and technology solve problems. Government doesn't solve any problems. Politics doesn't solve any problems. Authority doesn't solve any problems. They are the problem. I do not ideologically align with any political party. I am not an advocate of left-wing or right-wing politics. I am an advocate of moral spirituality. And I mean objective moral spirituality, not religious morality. We'll get into the difference between those two things later. I completely reject the belief in the idea of human so-called authority and all forms of government because these ideologies are based entirely in coercion and violence. In other words, immorality. And government and authority constitutes human slavery. And if you don't understand that, again, clearly you haven't paid attention to my work, and you would need to really understand what I'm going to be talking about here today. And I want to see all forms of slavery totally abolished. If you want to categorize me under one banner, under one term, I'm an abolitionist. I know that slavery is immoral and violent, and I want to see slavery abolished from the earth forever. And that means abolishing all forms of government because government is slavery. And that's an eternal truth. Get as offended as you want. It will still not ever make the statement untrue. I embrace and teach the principles of objective morality and natural law, which are the moral laws of creation and the creator of the universe. The problems of our world are not a matter of left versus right politics. The problems of our world are a matter of right versus wrong when it comes to objective morality. And once again, these are sort of prerequisites for this class, for this seminar. If you don't understand this, you probably want to go back and pay attention to my earlier teachings and my earlier work. Why do I do this type of work? Because I certainly don't make a lot of money doing this. I live in a comfortable home and lead a pretty meager lifestyle. You know, I drive a car that's a 2006, that's not any kind of a big vehicle. I have a mortgage like most other people, and I worry about making enough to even keep my home, quite frankly. People think, oh, you're living some extravagant lifestyle. You have no idea what's really taking place as far as the sacrifice that I've made to do this work. And I've done it at the highest level. And you can say that's arrogant. You could say that's tooting your own horn. I really don't give a damn what people think regarding that. I know the work that I've done, and I know it's some of the highest spiritual level work that's been put out into this world. And one of the reasons that I know that is because so few people are even considering or talking about any of these ideas, because they're all still occulted and hidden. So I don't present information like this to be liked, because it's not going to get you very well liked when you tell people that they're ignoring their inadequacies and they're ignoring things that they should be paying attention to improve themselves. You're not going to get a whole lot of love from that, right? Some people will respect you for saying it. Most people absolutely reject it and hate the messenger. I don't do it to be popular, because again, where's my platform? People who blow smoke up people's asses have millions and millions and millions of followers. I don't even have like 200,000 followers on YouTube, like 140,000 or something like that. It's a piss in a pot. Okay? So I certainly don't do this to be popular. I don't do this to make money. I don't do this to make friends, because again, it's going to get you very little of any of those things. I speak publicly and present seminars like this because I personally recognize in the crisis of overwhelming ignorance and deception in which we all currently live, and which constitutes slavery, I have a personal moral obligation to communicate what I have come to know and what I know to be taking place in our world. And you know what, folks? It's considerable. My knowledge is considerable. I don't go by this new age bullshit of I only know that I know nothing. This is nonsense. I know quite a damn bit. And that was hard-earned, hard-won knowledge. And I don't take that lightly. It's one of the things, I'll tell people this, it's one of the things that I wake up with an attitude of gratitude about. I'm sort of depressed about the state of the world, about where other people are, about what people want to actually talk about and think solutions are. Those things depress me every day. You want to know the one thing that doesn't depress me and what I wake up feeling so thankful to all of creation for? That I'm not a fucking idiot like that, quite frankly. And that I have set the bar very high for my work. Some people appreciate that. Many don't. Many disagree. They could disagree all they want. It's still true. And if people really, truly understand spirituality and truly learn shadow work, they'll understand that the work that I put forward is some of the top tier work in the world. So I don't go by this nonsense of never say what's true about yourself. Okay? I don't make these claims, oh, I know nothing. I know quite a damn bit, and that's why I'm sharing what I know. And I share what I know in order to help other people to understand it as well, because I want to level the playing field with knowledge. That's how we become not enslaved anymore. Knowledge is required to defeat tyranny and slavery. So I want people to understand this knowledge so that they can take action upon it and do something about the condition of our world. That's why I do what I do, folks. So when it comes to doing what is right, moral right is right, even if everyone is against it in the whole godless world. And wrong is wrong, even if everyone is for it in this entirely, largely godless world. So right and wrong don't really change. True objective right and wrong don't change. And that's why I do this work, because that's what my commitment is to. It's to truth and to what is right. It's not to human beings. And again, things are going to be intense today, okay? And I'll deliver it at an even keel, but with intensity, because that's what's lacking in this whole community. Passion, intensity. Somebody just saying it outright how it is. So this particular seminar is not like my other work, which talks about external factors like symbolism and mind control techniques and psyops, etc., so forth and so on. You know, Satanism, the occult, secret societies, occult traditions. This is studying things and events and things in our world and groups of people. This seminar directly applies to you as an individual, as a being, and as a form of consciousness in the universe. Now, that's different than previous work. And that's why most people hate my current work. They don't like it at all. They don't want any part of it. Okay? They like my old work, which we'll talk about in a moment. Today, in this seminar, this information that I'm going to present is entirely about you changing yourself. And that's one of the most difficult things to hear, and that's one of the most difficult things to say to somebody else, because you know most people are going to have objections to changing themselves in certain ways and hearing how that is to be accomplished. And I have changed myself in these ways. So it's the idea that people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Be certain of that. I don't live in the glass house. So I'm going to toss some stones your way today, folks. And if that offends you, get as offended as you want. I'm not here not to offend people. I'm here to tell people harsh truths. So much of the information I have explored in my work in the past is about the state of our world, who is controlling it, and the way that they manipulate the consciousness of the human masses. And therefore, a lot of people are very interested in that. They'll listen attentively. They'll be like, oh, it's so great that you're talking about this stuff. And then when I start converting to, you know what? You have to change in a certain way in how you think, in how you feel, in how you behave in the world. Then everybody's like, whoa, I'm out. You're telling me to do something different with my life, my lifestyle? I got to change myself. I have to change my thoughts. I have to change my behaviors. Yeah! Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. So if you're not ready to hear that, you should just check out now. And you know what? I run the risk of alienating people, of not having them listen. Oh well. You're not going to get any value out of this work unless you're ready to listen anyway. If you're not ready to listen, there's nothing that can be done. So, in contrast today, most of what I'm going to say in this seminar is going to apply directly to you, directly to your life, directly to your thoughts, directly to your behaviors. The attendees and viewers of this seminar. That is what may make much of it very difficult for most people to hear. And if that's the case, so be it. Then that's your ego reaction to it. Then you're making it difficult on yourself and on the world to change. It's the kind of people who say they want change, and when someone tells them what's required to accomplish that manifestation, they say, I want no part of it. I want to keep doing what I'm doing and expect a different result. Well, that's called total friggin' insanity. You have to change your thoughts and behaviors to get a different manifested result in reality.